Hi guys, Idle here, and today we'll be going over an Arknights SSS low-end guide for Tower Mountains biotech. I'll be showing a very consistent setup for SSS that should let you get the secret medal for not failing a map without much difficulty. And this will be the setup. For the directional EC unit, we just go with Smart Airspace Controller. The passive effect is generally good, and the active effect is in line with what we're going to do. Next, for tactical equipment configuration, we just go with A on everything except on medic. We're not using the A1, we're not stacking it, so we just want the B1 for a contingency. And this is the overall setup. I'll put it here just so you can look over it, but I'll go over it a bit briefly because SSS does have some RNG. You won't be able to replicate what I'm going to do one-to-one, so I'll go over what you need to do so you have a general idea of what the game plan is. So, I'll clear that, and then first and foremost, the most important part of the team.
Doctor, are you sure I should be the captain?
Yep, so the overall strategy is basically centered around Goldenglow. Goldenglow will carry the run with her map-wide DPS. She has really powerful global DPS that scales really well with attack speed, so the overall strategy will be stacking as much attack speed on her as we can, well, also just so she can basically just clear the entire map for us. Ideally, Goldenglow is the unit that you'll be borrowing as a support unit, and make sure she's basically as strong as possible as you can get her. So basically, max level if possible, skill tree mastery tree if possible, and module max level if possible. Next are 5 particular Vanguards, which are Texas, Myrtle, Fang, Plume, and Yato.
I'm ready.
Basically, Goldenglow, Myrtle, and Texas, these are the only non-3 stars that this guide will be utilizing. So Texas, you should have access to her from the pinboard missions. She's also generally one of the better Vanguards in the game to raise still, even all this time. Myrtle, one of the best units in the game, period. And both are units that you really do want to raise anyway, so yeah, we're gonna run with Myrtle and Texas here. Levels on these two don't really matter, but Elite 2 on these two don't really matter that much, but it really would be appreciated. Next is Fang, Plume, Yato. They're basically just cheap Vanguards, and basically these 3 are gonna generate the DP for us and basically the idea is that these 2 are very cheap. We're just gonna use them as Vanguard equipment, and we're basically just gonna stack the Vanguards on top of each other for the SP generation, and more SP equals more DP. Next is 5 different snipers, and we're gonna go with Justice Knight, Rangers, Terra Research Commission, and Small Crews.
Justice Knight, all ready and set.
Okay, so we just want them to be cheap as possible because we're using them almost exclusively as equipment for Goldenglow. We just want to quickly cycle them out. We're gonna stack them on top of each other and quickly cycle them out. So yeah, TRC chosen because it's very cheap, and Crews also cheap, but can also function as a secondary DPS role after we build our full stacks Goldenglow. And that's pretty much it. TRC, if you don't have TRC, because TRC is a collab operator, you can just go with Adnekil. That's also fine. After that, we're just gonna go with Durin.
The secret to staying healthy
Yep,
is to sleep whenever you can.
that's true, and we're just basically gonna choose Durin because she's very cheap for a caster role, and we're gonna use her also purely as caster equipment for Goldenglow. DPS on these 4 don't really matter. You don't really have to think about it in that way. So basically just deploy them on top of each other and quickly try to cycle them out in order to get Goldenglow. After that, we're gonna use a puller. Gladia, if you have her, if possible, she's the best one in this position. If you're at the point where you have access to SSS, you probably can get her from I believe it's the record restoration for Undertides as a welfare. If you don't have her, or if you don't have her raised, you can use Cliffheart because you get access to her if you log in for 7 days or something like that. And if you don't have her raised, you can just go with Rope. Basically, yeah.
Coming.
We're not actually using the puller for their ability to pull things or to block. We're just using them purely for their equipment here, which is to their ability to recycle a unit for their equipment. This is better seen in practice, but yeah, basically that's the idea. It just makes the strategy overall more consistent. And next is Ansel.
Ready whenever.
It's pretty simple, really. He's just gonna do generic medic things, basically that, yeah. And pretty much the rest of the team is gonna be rounded out by supporters. And watch what I'm doing. I'm basically just gonna support by deployment cost. Basically, you're just going to pick the cheapest supporters you have on your roster. I'm even gonna go out of my way to pick the supporters that I have that aren't raised, just so you can see that you don't really need them to be raised for the sake of this guide. So basically, we're sorting them by cost. The units themselves are not important. We're just getting them purely for their equipment. Basically, the strategy is we're gonna spam deploy cheap supporters and circumvent the RNG of SSS entirely. The RNG problem of SSS is that sometimes you just don't find the units that you need. But when you spam deploy supporters, you gain 15 transfer points for every supporter you deploy, and for drawing, you only need like 10 for the first run on your deck, so you basically are gaining half a draw for every supporter you deploy. So by doing that, we basically just have a really consistent setup where we can always find the units that we need. So yeah, and if you have your first E2, like your first other Elite 2 that you have that makes you SSS eligible to play that makes SSS what makes this mode eligible for you to play in the first place, you can just replace one supporter, like for example, if you have Eyjafjalla and Eyjafjalla doesn't really fit a spot in this setup already, you can use her over like on one of the supporters. If you have someone like a Vanguard, you can use it over a Vanguard. If you have a sniper E2, you can use it over one of the snipers. It doesn't really matter. Basically, you can just, if your E2 already doesn't fit in this roster, you can just put it over a support. It's fine. And yeah, that's pretty much the setup. And this will be map 1. I turned off the modules I already have. The only skills that do matter is S2 on Texas and S1 on Myrtle. Because the other units, they don't really have other skills anyway. And yeah, of course, Goldenglow skill tree. That's what we'll be using. So basically for map 1, just mind, and for the stages in general, just mind my positioning and how I play the setup. For this pre-operation adjustment, you just want to dump everybody that isn't a Vanguard. We're basically trying to maximize and immediately fully stack our Vanguards for the sake of DP generation. And we want to spam deploy the snipers and casters on top of each other.
Okay. Awaiting. You can't stop me. Orchid, ready to move.
Yep.
Good scenery here, Doctor. Oh, I just need a minute.
Every time you need an extra draw, you need more points for this, you just deploy a supporter and you'll get it. And yeah, and this is how we'll be using the specialist. Notice how I have a Nakiel here right now and don't have any other sniper. I just deploy Rope here and I get him back, and I'll be able to use him again as a sniper equipment when he comes back online again. And that's pretty much how we use him.
Gather around me, guys. Okay, I'll do it.
Now we have 3 on this. We're gonna have 4 after we get Adnakiel, after we deploy Adnakiel here.
Go ahead, out of my way. You better run away soon.
And now we're gonna have Goldenglow up.
Now's the time to help everyone.
And that's pretty much the stage finished.
Whew, I have to get serious
You
now.
just activate skill tree whenever it's up, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm so tense.
And that's
A
stage 1
perfect
done.
job. Looks like we can have a good rest today.
After some stages, you get a choice of adding an extra operator from temporary reinforcements. The idea is that, well, what you should be doing is that as much as possible, you should really be picking no one. The idea is that we already have everyone on our team that we need in order to activate our strategy. Adding anyone else would make the overall strategy more consistent. So basically, you ignore guards, ignore defenders, ignore medics, and ignore specialists. The exception is that having one one defender in general is fine. So if you find Beagle, Spot, Cardigan, those are fine to get. Just one at least. If you also have Saria or Gummy, that's also fine. But yeah, basically one and then that's done. You basically ignore the rest. And after that, and the only choices you really have to think about are casters, snipers, supporters, or vanguards. Casters or snipers, you think of it as like, how cheap are they? Either that or how good are they as supporting DPS? Because like having Goldenglow is the only DPS that's really necessary, but having anyone else to help on top of that, like for example, if you have an A of Yala, if you have a Typhon, you have Pozyamka, those would really help the run a ton. But yeah, but if you don't have those, it's fine. But yeah, think of it as how good are they as secondary DPS, or how cheap are they as equipment. And if those aren't really in play, you can choose supporters or vanguards. Supporters, extra draw, that's pretty much it. And vanguards, extra DP, that's pretty much it. So I'll be choosing Scene here. And I'll be choosing Mei, very cheap. So I'll also be turning off my modules for the sake of this guide, by the way. I'll also, if I get any like super strong operators, or at least the super strong ones from temporary reinforcement, I'll make sure they face the wrong way for the sake of the guide, just so they don't affect the run too much. And this is stage 2, so just try to find your vanguards as quick as possible.
Don't worry, we'll be right back. Ready for Overwatch.
Ideally, you deploy Plume and Yato first because they don't have skills to generate DP. You stack them on top of each other like this, and now I basically have 3 stacks Texas very immediately.
Beep, beep, justice night. Shut up.
I'm gonna make her face the wrong way, that's Scene because she's max level.
Okay, I'll do it. Whoa.
Yeah, and just like that, we're gonna have max stacks Goldenglow right off the bat.
Okay, awaiting. Shut up.
I will follow your orders.
Now's the
Yep,
time to help
just like that,
everyone
quick
out.
and easy.
Precision equipment isn't cheap.
Basically, at this point, we're just trying to build a secondary DPS, though for this stage, it's not really necessary.
Just treat it like a regular stream.
I'm gonna use Rope to get back Mei here.
We have the doctor's orders to thank for this.
And that's stage 2, by the way. Again, try to avoid guards, defenders, medics, and specialists, and try to find casters, snipers, supporters, or vanguards. I'm gonna pick Passenger, I guess. I'll make sure he faces the wrong way every time because he's one of the better carries for SSS actually. So yeah, I'll just assume you probably don't have him if you need a low end guide in the first place. And I pick no one for the second option. Oh, I forgot to turn his module off. It's fine. Again, look for your vanguards.
All operators, be on alert. Understood. Got it. In position.
You want
can't
your
let them
Goldenglow
misuse a
stacked
vision
on
emergency.
this position, by the way. Just so she can hit this style.
Thrust.
Though it doesn't really matter too much.
Oh, just deep breaths. Stay calm.
Got it.
I'm listening. Handle with care. I'm ready.
Everyone, follow me.
Good scenery here, Doctor. Here I am. What a pain. We're counting on you again today, little apple.
Now that we have full stacks, Goldenglow it's pretty much GG at this point. Especially since we get these things, these SP generators. For every time we kill one of the carrier, for the supply drones rather.
We're counting on you again today, little apple.
Please hold on.
And at this point we just try to build a secondary DPS if we really wanted to. Not really needed though.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, every time you kill a boss, you'll be getting an option to pick from these EC units. So basically, what you want to prioritize are the ones equipment activation, recuperation, and preparation. There are five equipment in total. Those are the three you want. You'll always get one of those three. And there's two that you basically never want to pick ever. One of those is emergency recall box, and the other is reassignment. So you just want to pick equipment activation valve. What it basically does is it gives an extra equipment of the same type of unit that you use it on. For example, May only has one sniper equipment at the moment. If I use it on her, she's gonna get 2 extra sniper equipment, and now she's on 3, she's max stacks, and it basically accelerates the strategy by a good amount.
You can't stop me.
Meanwhile, the other two, they basically just draw specific units. That's pretty much it. Again, you want equipment, recuperation, and preparation. These are the two ones that you really don't want. So yeah, I'm gonna pick preparation here. And what this does is it lets me pick 4 from the preparation area. So and I get to pick 2. So it basically also helps the strategy by making it more consistent. Because I'm picking the operators I really want for the situation at hand.
Possibilities of new function development detected. Justice Knight, awaiting for orders to return to Rose Island.
So when you'll get a choice for this after the boss stage, after stage 3. So you just pick the one on the left. It's just straight up a good module for the overall strategy we're going with. The right one is also good, but it's better if you have a high-end roster, basically. And I'll turn off the module, even though we won't be using passenger at all. Again, just dig for your vanguards.
The battle has begun. Be careful, everyone. Got it.
You'll want to be stacking your Goldenglow on this specific spot, by the way. Facing the left, of course.
All right.
rewards.
Deep breaths. Stay calm. Okay.
Okay.
Soul be cleansed. 撮影開始します。スカンボー。Precision equipment isn't cheap. Now's the time to help.
Full build
everyone
Goldenglow,
out.
and that's pretty much the map done. Basically, at this point, you'll just be clicking skill tree every time it's up on Goldenglow. And that's stage 4 done.
Congratulations! A perfect conclusion to this mission.
Again, just make sure you pick caster, sniper, Vanguard, or supporter. I'm picking Megalion here because she's a supporter, that's pretty much it. And I'm picking Pinecone here because she's a sniper. I'll turn off the module on mag. And yeah, and this will be stage 5. This one is interesting. You want your snipers to be, or your casters and snipers to be spam deployed on these tiles facing downward, so they hit the units coming from this red box on the right. But you'll also want a unit deployed on this spot where my cursor is right now in order to take aggro from the guys that call drones. So again, just dig for your vanguards.
Don't worry, we'll be right back.
Leave it to us.
Got it.
I won't sleep on the job. Here I am.
Everyone, follow me!
Precision equipment isn't cheap. Okay, I'll do it.
Let's begin.
そこも質問させてもらうのだ。
Cut them to pieces.
一度しか警告しないのだ。
There are the enemies.
Yeah, as I mentioned, you want the one here taking the aggro.
Deep breaths. Stay calm. Now's the time to help everyone out.
I'll just deploy this here just to be safe.
Got it. Shut up.
This is a
Times are tense.
genuinely slow start for this strategy standards, by the way. But we do have full build Goldenglow at this point, so it's fine.
Go ahead. Understood. Please
And now
hold
we
on.
have the full
Got
setup.
it.
Time to work.
By the way, make sure you don't
Got it.
use a rope on Justice Knight or TRC because, well, I'm just gonna show it to you now. Because this happens, you have to wait a really long time. And yeah, once you actually finish building these two and putting the medic here down here, just make sure you keep the unit here topped up to take the aggro. Like when the unit dies, you deploy someone again. And yeah, just spam S3 every time it's up after. You also really don't have to worry about leaking, actually. Just want to say that. In order to get the secret medal, you just have to not lose a map. You're allowed to actually leak like 1 or 2. As long as you don't lose the map, you're good. So if you feel like you need to leak in order to buy yourself more time, don't think about it too much. Just do it. It's going to be fine. You're still gonna get the secret medal. Though of course, not leaking does feel better.
We have the doctor's orders to thank for this.
Yep, and at this point, this is the boss stage. I picked nobody, and I'm gonna have to pick blue poison, cheap sniper. That's pretty much it. Cheap sniper. That's basically what her operator is all about for this mode. So yeah, at this point, any other additional DPS aside from Goldenglow will be appreciated. It won't be needed. It won't really be needed, of course. Like Goldenglow, Cruise, and Adnakiel actually is capable of doing it. Like those 3. But it's going to be really, really close. Basically, anyone else, a caster especially, anybody else, like for example, if you have like Lazy, if you have Asgen, if you have who's another caster that's good, Haze maybe, something like that. Basically any other additional DPS will really, really help you out a lot. But yeah, still Goldenglow, Cruise, Adnakiel, it's capable of doing it, but it's going to be close basically. Again, just dig for your Vanguards.
All right, all medicine has been prepared.
This is a bad start in the sense that I don't have any good Vanguards. I am finding my caster, so I found Texas.
Sibby, locked onto target.
Got it.
Let's begin.
Deep breaths. Stay calm.
Got it.
Good scenery here, Doctor. Sneaky, sneaky. Don't worry.
I'll make BP face the wrong way because she's one of the better operators I have.
You better run away soon.
Well, May is also fine as a secondary DPS actually.
I'm ready.
Time to work. Precision equipment. We're counting on you again today, little apple.
All right.
ここですか?
You don't have to worry about the Vanguard dying because as long as you don't let her actually retreat, it's going to be fine because you can just do this, you can just deploy your unit over them, and you're basically you basically don't lose anything.
Just as planned.
Okay, I'll do it.
begin.
Is this a good spot?
You can't stop me.
Now's the time to help everyone out. Soul be cleansed. Scumble, scumble.
Go ahead. Locked on.
The distance. There!
Yep.
Reposition.
Fang falls again. Texas falls again. But we have Fang, so it's pretty much no problem.
Okay,
All right.
You basically build all your DPS here. One of them is gonna face upwards, just so they can deal with the drones that go on this line. Yeah, and pretty much every time, as much as you can, you just try to build your DPS. And this time now facing upwards. On this particular box.
What a pain.
Your medication is here. Take it.
I'm here to
Again, if your Vanguard dies, it's fine, you're chill.
wait for me, please.
Yeah, we basically only have 4 stars and Goldenglow right now as DPS. And it's already kinda chilling. Imagine if I had anyone else, really. Imagine if I had like Eyafyala, or I'm actually using the passenger that I do have. At this point, you're basically just wait. It's basically S3 on Goldenglow waiting room. You're just gonna wait and activate the skill every time it's up, just so she can DPS the boss down further. Yeah, at this point, the Vanguard that's dying doesn't really matter anymore. Yep, and that's the mode done. That's SSS Tower Mountains by attack. Arknights low end.
By everyone's performance. It was fantastic.
Pretty much no leaks, no problem.